More and more, as we struggle to create jobs in South Africa, we're told, well, start your own business. And that's what Faan van der Walt and his brother did in 2002. But you were a school teacher.
That's right, yes,
I
was.
Did you know anything about cars other than they go fast and they're very flashy and you can pick up dates in them?
I actually did. You know, growing up, we used to drive really dilapidated cars, unreliable vehicles. So I used to be under the bonnet all the time, fixing cars, you know, taking out the engine, putting new oil rings in and all that sort of jazz. You know, it was frustrating, but that's how it all started. And, you know, it was out of a desperation to improve our own situation, you know, trying to get us into a better vehicle. And so I got the opportunity to go and study teaching, which I did. And I'm really grateful for that because it gave me a lot of confidence. I could never sit in front of people and talk, and teaching helped me in that way. So that was very positive. And I also went to the UK and taught there for a few years, and that's probably where the seed capital for the business came from. Because
was that the strategy, though? Was that, okay, I can stay teaching and I can have a great career in teaching, or we can start our own business, but there's no money to start a business. How do we raise capital as quickly as possible to bootstrap a startup?
So no, there was no strategy at that stage. I went to the UK because I thought this was nice. I'm going to teach, I'm going to earn good bucks. And I bought and sold cars there as well, but without any real strategy. So when I came back in 2001, my brother, Dirk, is actually the real strategic partner in the business, because he had this idea to actually approach clients before they advertise their vehicle in the open market, you know, like putting flyers around, putting adverts around saying, we want to buy your vehicle. And that's when we came up with the name We Buy Cars. And from there, you know, people started approaching us, and the business grew organically. You know, first we bought 10 vehicles a month, then 20, and so on. And nowadays we're sitting close to 6,000 vehicles a month. We employ just around 1,000 people at We Buy Cars.
Now, I mean, in those days, the primary source of any information on motor cars, if you were looking for a second-hand car, you would go to CNA and you would spend probably $20 on an Auto Trader, which came out, it was weekly or monthly, but it was big and fat and detailed and had tiny little pictures with tiny little specs. If you were young, you could look at the numbers, or we had a magnifying glass to see mileage, price, and all of those sorts of details. I mean, that was the market, wasn't it?
Yes, it was really, really difficult to know what a specific vehicle is worth. I used to drive around with my own car with stacks of Auto Traders on the back seat, and when someone phones me and says, I want to sell my Volvo, I would page to the Volvos and see what they sell for and try and gauge the market. Nowadays, it's a whole different ballgame. There's a lot of information out there. With a quick online search, you can fairly accurately gauge what vehicles are going for in the market. There are Auto Trader, you got Cars.co.za, you got Car Find, and hordes others, together with all the big car dealerships who have their own websites. So it's fairly easy for the consumer out there to know more or less what my vehicle should be worth.
So then how do you compete in that market? Because the internet does provide us with immediate knowledge. I can come here, and here's a Honda CR-V, which is right behind us over here. I can tell you very, very quickly that there's a Honda CR-V sitting in Springs at the moment for 5,000 Rand less than this one, for argument's sake. Or maybe you've done the research, though, that there isn't.
I hope there's not.
but one is able to gauge.
Yes.
And that makes that, sorry, the negotiation that much tougher.
Yeah, so for us, it's a volume game, and it's all about service. So people really want quick service. So we are really, really quick to respond to inquiries. When you do the online application at We Buy Cars, we'll respond within the hour. You'll know what we can offer for your vehicle.
Well, you get like 1,500, 1,600 inquiries a day. I'm thinking of selling my car. I've got a 2010 Toyota Corolla 1.6 GLX, or whatever they're called. Can you give me a price guide, please? You'll give a price guide over the phone saying it's probably worth about this. That person then either takes the next step to invite you around to buy the car, or they go, oh, no, actually, I'll keep driving it because I don't want to get rid of it at that price.
Yeah, I think people, you know, as your vehicle journey progresses, you want to keep track of what your vehicle is worth. So a lot of people will just gauge the market. We ask them, are you serious about selling, or are you just gauging the market? So we have a lot of inquiries stating, now I'm just testing the waters here, and we provide a price for those people. But people who are urgent, we can buy your vehicle the same day, execute payment, paperwork, everything.
I mean, that's what you do nowadays. You go to people, you say, I'll give you this money, and you deposit the money, and you'll come and collect the car tomorrow. I mean, it's that quick a transaction. In the early days, before the internet was in its infancy, there were no mobile devices really, no smart devices anyway. How were you executing those deals? You were doing lots of thumb-sucking and guesswork. How were you doing those deals?
It was difficult, and you had to go on a gut feel and your past experience. When someone phoned us, you'd arrive at the client's house and you say, oh, I was under the impression it's that shape, but it's actually this shape, so either it's better or worse, but you couldn't know beforehand. Nowadays, it's a lot easier. You've got photo technologies, you've got evaluation apps that you can use to quite accurately determine a value on that vehicle. You must
have made some spectacular mistakes in those early days.
Oh, yes. No, and we still do. I think a healthy business always has, losses. If we were to buy and sell each and every vehicle at a profit, that means we're not taking enough risk. So we sell a percentage of our vehicles. Luckily, it's a single digit per month at a loss. But that means we are pushing the boundaries, and we are very aggressive when we buy vehicles.
What was the biggest mistake you made? I mean, did you in the early days when you've got startup capital of 300,000 Rand, you can't afford to make a 10,000 Rand mistake, and you must have.
No, luckily we haven't made any real big mistakes. I think the biggest mistakes are cars that break down. So the engine fails, and all of a sudden you have to spend 40,000 Rand in repairing the engine. We also had a few instances where we bought cloned vehicles or vehicles with falsified paperwork, where you just had to take the knock and hand over the vehicle to the police, which is unfortunate, but luckily that only happened later on and not early on, where it could have really damaged our business.
We're on to Faan about now. We were speaking to cash converters, of course, fairly recently, and they've also got that problem. They've got to make absolutely sure that every item, second-hand golf clubs or second-hand saxophones, you would have seen those on the show a couple of weeks ago, that those aren't stolen items. And looking at South Africa's hijacking statistics and looking at the theft statistics of motor cars, these guys have got to be super careful on that particular front. We'll find out how they do it so that you don't bother trying in a moment.